Hello and welcome to the ESL Pro League Season 4 North American Division. Elfish Guy, 4 more teams, 2 more matchups today. How are we going to start this one off?
Liquid and CLG? I think it's going to be a little bit closer than what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, you reckon? A couple of blowouts yesterday, unfortunately for us in the B stream, weren't they? Really some pretty average results for some of these teams, but hopefully today's going to be a different story.
Yeah, definitely. Well, at least on paper it seems like it should be. I mean, Liquid probably coming into this one with, I suppose, a little better form. But in saying that, yesterday they lost to NRG 0-2 with some, I guess, surprising results. So considering that, I mean, you know, even when you think about how CLG hasn't necessarily been performing to the level that we might expect from them, then both these teams coming in here with a little bit maybe shaky form, and both teams sitting relatively evenly on the scoreboard as well. So I would expect we're going to see some closer matches. I think I'm still going to favour Liquid a little bit here. I just think they, across the board, have a bit more depth in their lineup. But definitely, to me, it seems like it should be a closer match than yesterday, which I think probably doesn't surprise anyone, considering we had SK playing up against, yesterday. So it was...
Yeah, well, I assume we won't be seeing any 5 AWP setups coming out today, I would suspect. Yeah. So, all right, so Team Liquid versus CLG, first matchup of the day. We'll be starting off on Cbble, and then heading over to Mirage for the second map between those two teams. What do you think of these maps?
Cobble's a strong map for Liquid, so not really a surprise to see them picking that one up. I would have expected maybe something more like a Cache or a Train potentially coming out from CLG, although admittedly, I guess they're not having the best results across the board, so picking up Mirage here, which to me is a little bit interesting again, considering that's not a bad map for Liquid. Mm-hmm. So overall, I think the map pool just does favour a little bit towards Liquid, but again, we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, well, CLG hasn't been going too well in general lately. No. A few losses in a row. It's a bit hard, obviously, going up against some superior opponents. Team Liquid, the better team most likely, but yeah. CLG potential there, maybe to bring something back in the form of an upset.
Well, Liquid even, yesterday did just look a little bit off, so I don't know what was going on there. I mean, obviously, had a look at those games, and Tabson and Peter from NRG were just going ham, basically, and no one from Team Liquid really stepped up. So today, hopefully they come into it with a fresh mind sort of thing. They can forget yesterday's performance and come into this one and hopefully perform, to what we would expect, the level that we would expect. Over on CLG, we saw them as well playing yesterday. Obviously didn't have a great time, but again, what can you really expect going up against one of the best teams in the world? So coming in today, I think they're going to feel like they have a bit of a better shot at this one.
Yeah.
But again, they're going to have to really step up, and I think that's going to come down to, again, Kusta and Subrosa, who I sort of detailed yesterday, I think were the 2 players to watch here on CLG.
So both of these teams obviously coming into this matchup with a few losses in a row. So they'll both be looking to change things up and regain some momentum, I suppose, in the season. Perfect opportunity to do that for both, I suppose. But Liquid most likely with the advantage coming into today's matchup. Yeah,
well, I mean, when I was sort of looking at how I thought this match was going to go, initially what I said was I thought it might be a 2-0 in the favour of Liquid, but after yesterday's results, that kind of makes me feel a little bit questioning about that sort of a prediction. So I think at the moment still leaning towards a 2-0, but definitely to see CLG pick up a map here wouldn't be particularly surprising. Although, when you consider the map picks that have come out, again, that sort of lends itself towards both those maps being more Liquid favoured.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we look at our matchup for the second half of the day, Selfless up against Complexity. Now, they'll be playing on Cache and onto Train. Again, neither of these teams having great seasons so far. They've been pretty average, to be fair.
Yeah, look, it's hard to say they should have come into these with fantastic results, obviously coming into the entire season as teams that we expected maybe not to perform up towards the top of the ladder. But we'll have to see how they go today. I think both those maps are relatively comfortable map for both of those teams, actually. Cache is a very good map for Complexity. It's probably their best map, actually. But over on Selfless, they don't mind playing a little bit of Train as well, so we'll have to see how that goes. I think it could be a 1-1. I think both teams are quite evenly matched overall, and it's just going to come down to who steps up on the day. Going into this one, I even though Complexity are a little bit doing a little bit worse, I think, throughout our season here. It still feels to me like they're coming into this one with maybe a little bit better form. I think Android X and Ape have looked pretty good of late, so I'd expect to see them maybe coming in here today and performing well. But, if they don't perform well, then, of course, Selfless have got a great opportunity
Well,
here.
That's it. As a team, they do have the potential to bring out some big plays and sort of turn the match around. It's just a matter of whether they turn up today and actually are able to achieve that, as opposed to seeing the other form of the team, which is not always that impressive.
Yeah, exactly. So it does come down to which of these two teams turns up. And I think that's similar as well with our first matchup between Liquid and CLG. If either of those teams show up and the other doesn't, then it's going to be a 2-0, to be honest. And, I mean, yesterday there was some good signs, I guess, for CLG. Like, Cutler was performing okay with the scout, at least on Nuke. But, I mean, he had some decent shots with the AWP when they were able to afford it.
Yes, well, that's half the problem,
That was half the problem, exactly. So
you don't have the money. It makes it very, very difficult, doesn't it? So heading back, as said, to Liquid versus CLG, we're going to be starting on Cbble. It's our first map of the day. That was a Team Liquid pick.
Yep.
Do you like that as their pick?
Yep, I do. It's, well, like I said, Cbble and Mirage are their best maps.
Best maps.
So I think overall, it does lean in their direction. I'm happy to see Cbble played here by Liquid, and I think they should be able to pull it off without too many difficulties. I mean, it's not really a map that CLG has had all that much success on. So for me, Liquid.
It's funny, we seem to be getting a lot of that where you've got on your notes beforehand that these are their best maps, and then again and again, both the maps end up being the better team's map. I don't know either. I guess when you are the better team, it's easier to have better maps or more good maps to use. But still, you'd like to think that their opponents.
Well, I mean, in this case, I've literally only got Cbble and Mirage.
What do they know? What do they know that you don't know, Elfish Guy?
They must know a lot. To be fair, like they're playing up against these teams a lot more than I am. So.
Oh, you don't say, mate.
So maybe they know something that I don't.
I have no doubt they know many things that you don't, Elfish Guy. But on this occasion, you put down these two maps as their top two maps. So we'll see if that's the case today. What's your prediction in terms of score to start us off on Cbble?
On Cbble, I think it should be reasonably comfortable for Liquid, assuming they perform how they should and not like yesterday. I'd expect that we'd probably see something like 16-12, maybe 16-10 in the favor of Liquid.
I guess we'll have to see. Complexity, definitely with the potential to turn up. Team Liquid is definitely also not the most serious of contenders, perhaps, against them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we'd like to think they'd take out the win. We also would like to think that we'll have some closer games today than yesterday as well. So we're ready for an upset today, aren't we? We're ready for these to go all the way.
Well, I mean, to be honest, if either of these matches go in the way of the underdog, it's not really, to me, going to be a massive upset because the two matches are pretty close anyway. Like, I feel like CLG here could take a couple of maps over Liquid on their day. Similarly, Complexity, I feel, could take a couple of maps over Selfless. So even if we do see the underdog picking up victories, wouldn't be hugely surprising.
All right, well, we'll have to wait and see, ladies and gents. We're going to go to a very quick break, and we'll be right back with our first map of the day. We'll be right back.
This is the galaxy's easiest meal. And this is the galaxy's easiest haircut.
I absolutely love it.
Soylent, the galaxy's easiest meal, is the galaxy's easiest meal. And this is the galaxy's easiest race. Soylent, the Galaxy's easiest meal.
Get your team apparel now at shop.eslgaming.com.
Welcome back, guys and girls. We have 10 in the server, and it is ready to get into game. Elfish Guy has predicted about a 16-10, 16-12. Was that right to Team Liquid?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
We'll have to see, but let's head into game, ladies and gentlemen. The pistol round underway. Liquid up against CLG. Liquid will be starting on the CT side. CLG starting us off as the Ts. Looks like we're going to send 2 over towards A, 3 towards B halls for now. And CLG will be wanting to get a good start heading into this one. To be fair, both teams will, because they're both on a bit of a losing streak.
Look at this push, though, from Liquid. That's so aggressive, straight out in towards the T spawn almost. And, well, it hasn't worked out too well for them. Cutler and Ethan finding one apiece, and Liquid is only able to get one, but Hiko, he finds 2 before going down. So, now back to a 2v1. I mean, it's difficult here still for Elige, but it's definitely doable.
It certainly is, and if he can get himself into a bit of a better position here.
They need to retreat the bomb.
Well, that's it. Look at this. Oh, he's going to get a little bit tagged up, down to 85 HP. Peeks back out, takes a bit more damage, pushes him down. We can see Ethan already down to 19, Cutler down to 69. They're going to push out quickly over to the B site. They know that it will be clear, but Elige is pushing very, very quickly here through Connector.
Yeah, it's going to make it difficult to plant here for Ethan, and Elige has been spotted out, but Cutler is going to be able to take him down in the end there. So CLG escape with a round. Although it did look a little bit shaky for a moment there. It was an interesting strategy, to be honest, from Liquid, pushing that aggressively up in towards the Ts. But, well, in the end, it didn't quite work out.
No, it doesn't. So, Cutler and Ethan both able to buy some AKs. Kusa going to go the same way. So, Rosa and Hayes going to go with alternatives. Always love a bit of SMG action, to be honest. But, on the other hand, Liquid, they're just going to send a 4-stack over to B, but that's not where the bomb is right now.
CLG have really bought into this one. Like, I mean, 3 AKs is generally not what you would expect to see coming out for a first buy. And potentially they might have expected that Liquid would force into this one with some armor and that sort of thing. So they thought, well, let's just buy an extra AK for assurance. But in this case, Liquid have just gone with those pistols. So it's really kind of important here that CLG is able to take at least those 3 AKs through to this round. They don't want to lose any more than that. Otherwise, the investment, you know, is probably not worth it.
Bomb now pushing back, all 5 of them stacking together here for CLG. They're going to head over to the B site and come out, by the looks of it, onto balcony here. And that Molly's going to try and force back JDM, but it doesn't matter, he gets picked up. The site is clear, but the rotation coming across from Team Liquid all the way through mid. They have no armor, however, and these Mac 10s even can rip them apart. So, bomb plank going to go down here. Cutler holding back in a good position to grab a couple of picks with this AK. And he'll do just that.
Yeah, exactly how CLG needed to play it. using those long angles to make the pistols a little bit more ineffective. Elysian, of course, with the Deagle, trying to do what he can, but in this sort of a situation, he's just going to be peeking and peeking until he gets eventually taken down by one of those AKs. And looks like CLG will get out of this one with 5 guns alive, so pretty much a perfect anti-eco from them. The bomb going to explode here, so a bit of extra cash in the bank there as well, courtesy of that. And really, in general, CLG looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, not a bad start. 2 from 2, straight up. They're going to take all of these weapons through to round number 3. Liquid, they haven't spent that much money. We'll see what they've got to work with. Probably not to buy. Yeah, so
unless they force into it, but highly unlikely.
Well, considering how well they saved last round, just wouldn't seem worth it, I suspect. And that'll give CLG probably 3 rounds straight up here, unless Liquid can grab something out of the hat. I suspect CLG will be feeling a little bit better about this than they did yesterday, and wanting to follow on with some good form for the first half here.
Yeah, well, potentially. We'll see what Liquid can do when they get onto the bye, but for now, obviously going to be favouring CLG into this one, and it does seem like CLG defaulting back towards that B bomb site once again, so, you know, not too surprising. The B site tends to be the favoured side, although it was a good pop flash from the CTs. They weren't able to get the job done, though, but Ethan apparently is.
See ya, mate. See ya, indeed. So, it's now a 4-on-3, but you would like to think that CLG should be able to push out onto this site and pick up the 3 remaining CTs. On the other hand, we also have Hayes pushing across from mid there, so if Nitro is still left, time potential here for him to push through and find something. Wow, straight through the smoke goes Ethan. Brings him down to 15 HP. Kusta will finish it off. Now we'll actually get to see some action here instead of Team Liquid getting wrecked 3 rounds in a row with superior weapons.
Well, who knows? Maybe they will get wrecked.
Maybe.
Even though they do have the weapons. But yes, in theory, you're right. Would hope so. CLG just going to be taking one of those Mac 10s through here, so keeping a little bit of extra cash in the bank, trying not to invest into all the AKs. So we'll see how Hayes does here, but potential for him to actually do some work. There's actually no head armor available here for any of those Liquid players. If he can get into close range, that Mac 10 can cause a bit of damage.
They're going to push long A to start the day off here, and Ethan jumps forward. We can see both Hayes and Kusta have already gone down. So Rosa takes out the AWP, and now it's a 3-on-3. Would be smart to probably rotate back around here to the B site. They've left Cutler. He was just watching into mid, but he was also the player with the bomb, so even if he does want to hang there, you'd probably want to swap that bomb back to one of the other 2 players.
That was pretty nicely played there by CLG. They knew they had the numbers advantage, and even though they lost the first 2 players, they continued that push and were able to trade them out. So back to a 3v3. It could have been a whole lot worse. Maybe if one of those Liquid players had have gotten out of that long area back in towards the A site, then the job here for CLG would be much more difficult. But now they have the open bomb sites, or the relatively open bomb sites, that they can try and get into.
48 seconds on the clock here, and it's going to be an A push by the looks of it. They decided they want to hang around this site. They have allowed Pimp up to the back of the site as well, so potential here for Pimp to find a couple of frags. I'm not sure if they suspect he's actually there. He does pick up Sub Rosa, should be able to get a second. In the end, he will go down to Ethan. However, Hiko surely finds his frag. He does. The bomb not yet planted, and Cutler, the last one left alive for his team. He's going to try and get a plant down now and should be successful. He's got the AWP, he's got 2 flashbangs. Probably going to need to use all of it, to be honest, to make this work. Elysian, Hiko, you'd surely like to think they could find something here, but no utility will make it hard. Yeah, and also no kit available. Maybe there's one dropped on the site, but for now, they don't have a kit in their person, and Cutler down to 7 HP. Hiko should be able to get this one fine, and does manage to do that. Picks up the AWP as well, and gets the defuse quite easily in the end. So a good round for Liquid. Yeah, they got there in the end. They picked up an AWP off the ground as well, which is a cash saving heading into next round. And of course, they stop CLG in their tracks here, and just stem the flow a little bit, I suppose. So we'll see what they want to buy into this round. CLG with plenty of money to make something of round number 5. Liquid will need to clean this one up as well to put them down onto an eco, while CLG, if they clean up Liquid, their economy is going to be looking pretty poor. Yeah, pretty important round for both these teams. It could follow, well, following this could be an eco for the other side, so they definitely need to try and win this one out. Liquid will be pretty pleased if they can bring this one back to 3-3 pretty quickly. And at the moment, I mean, their first gun round, it wasn't
exactly super convincing, but they got the job done in the end. I mean, they had some nice little passages of play. The initial 2 frags were very nice, but unfortunately they weren't able to get out of there, out of that long area alive. But if they had have, then of course it would have looked a lot better for them. Still though, CLG now with 5 players alive, Liquid with 5 alive as well, but a couple of SMGs brought up here for Liquid, so the buy, considering, you know, they win the round, is actually not as good as what they had last round. So a little difficult here for Liquid.
Yeah, well, when you only get through with 1 player left alive, it can make things just a tad awkward heading into the next round, especially when your economy wasn't so great to begin with. We saw that CLG actually managed to get through the majority of the previous anti-ecos and keep up most of their weapons, which is why they're faring a little bit better right now. The bomb pushing towards the B side, only 1 player hanging at A. Just trying to perhaps hold those remaining 2 players back there. Cutler pushing back as well, just for the moment. The bomb looking like it's going to push back as well. So going from a B push back over to an A push here on round number 5. Hiko flashes his way into drop and picks up Ethan. So that's going to be the first frag. But look at the time, 24 seconds. They're going to have to do something. They're going to have to do it quickly. Yeah, and they've just been picked off 1 by 1. At least Nitro will get traded out there by Subrosa, who also finds the entry onto the site, onto JDM. Pimp's able to come across, though, on the rotate and pick up 1. So we're back to a 3 versus 2, and there's trades going across the board here, but that works out for Liquid. They had the player advantage, and it's still a 1v2. This time, Cutler again finding himself in a poor position, but he doesn't have time to plant and should be taken down. Looks like he's going to get knifed as well, Elige. There you go. Rubbing salt into the wound. You lose the round, you ran out of time, you lose your AWP, and you get knifed. Yeah. So, see Cutler there coming through with $250 for this round. Nice little cash boost there for Team Liquid, and, well, not so great for CLG, obviously. No, not at all. Actually able to buy into this round as well. That's how good their economy was, Elfish Guy. Yeah, I mean, they haven't been investing super hard into these. They've just been going for the AK, so no AWPs have come out yet. You saw them take that extra SMG through to the first gun round, so they've been saving a little bit of cash backwards and forwards. So, you know, CLG being able to buy into this one, although it's not a perfect buy considering what happened to Cutler last round, it's still definitely workable, but they are going to have to respond back here. We've seen Liquid pick up 2 gun rounds in a row, and it's time now for CLG to really respond. Nitro is going to sit in mid with the P90 right now, and we can see that Pimp has pushed all the way up long A as well, so they'll be getting a ton of information on where they expect these guys to play. That'll see Hiko push across, Nitro push across back towards the B site. For the moment, that's the correct call, because there are 4 players here from CLG ready to go. So Bros are just sitting at the top of drop here, and he'll take 38 damage just for hanging around when that HE comes through. 50 seconds on the clock, and they're going to have to make the decision. Can't afford to run out of time once again. And they haven't been able to get a pick so far. The rotation's now coming out. Looks like the bomb's going to go back towards this A site. How quickly can Team Liquid push back across with the rest of their players? Pimp spots out Kusta, finds the frag. Nitro pushes back across. He's in front of the smoke as well and drops the bomb carrier. Hayes goes down. All of a sudden, this is looking very, very average here for CLG. Yeah, I mean, that kill from Nitro is so huge, dropping the bomb carrier, but then you see Hiko pick up 2 for himself as well. So really across the board, Liquid looking very good in that one. Didn't lose a single player. That's exactly what they need to do here on that CT side. And I mean, the economy not yet really ramping up, but definitely if they pick up a couple more rounds like that, they'll be feeling pretty good about themselves. Well, that's it. They lost the first 3, picked up the next 3. And now it's an eco now. Yeah, well. CLG finally forced onto their first eco here. So you'd like to think that Liquid should be able to pick this one up as well. But CLG, they're going to have to change something up. They really haven't been looking very good in the rounds where, you know, both teams have had equal weapons. Yep. They just haven't had enough to get past Team Liquid. Certainly not. And it's lucky that they picked up the pistol round. Otherwise, at the moment, they'd be looking at a 0-6 scoreline, which, of course, would be not all that great here on Cobblestone. A little bit more of an even sort of map, so we wouldn't expect to see the CTs getting off to a bit of a good start like that. But it does seem like Liquid are getting off to that good start. 3 gun rounds in a row, and now they're up against the eco here. It should be 4-3 in their favour. And I mean, the scoreline is not great, but the way in which they've gone about these wins definitely has made them look like the better team at the moment. Yeah, it certainly has. And we can see that CLG is starting to stack up towards long A, just holding and waiting. They will send Subrosa over towards the B side. Again, potentially trying to bait someone out, prevent a rotation, pick up a weapon, any number of things he might be trying to achieve. But if you can keep these 3 players here from Team Liquid on the B side, it does give the guys over at CLG just a little bit more of a chance to try and overcome these two players currently sitting on A for the CTs. 35 on the clock now. They're going to have to make a move again. They've got no utility.
Yeah,
they're
got nothing.
P250s and they're stuck here. Kusta finds Nitro, and that potentially is going to be the highlight of the round here for CLG, because Pimp is in a great spot to find some frags. Look at that, picks up 3 very, very quickly up against those unarmored targets. Ethan manages to find 1, but that will be that. So Liquid lose 2, but pick up the round. CLG sitting on enough money here to be able to buy back into this round.
Yeah, I think losing 2 there is probably just par for Liquid. They would have wanted to get away with, losing a couple less than that, but obviously not the case. And they're going to go for the double AWP into this one, which is a little surprising for me. I would have thought they would have just kept, those 4 rifles. I mean, their economy is good enough, of course, to buy this double AWP, but it just doesn't really feel like they need it.
Well, I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. We talk about how quite often you'll see the double AWP come out only when you start losing rounds as a CT, right? Like,
yeah.
It's sort of a change-up that you would like to think the first time you pick it up, you should be able to grab that round. Perhaps for Liquid, they're just trying to secure, a good start here. They're now finally in the lead, and the Liege will watch him here, in a good spot, perhaps to find some frags. Look at that, picks up the bomb carry straight away, hiding on the other side of the smoke, and already Cutler and Subrosa are the last 2 left alive for their team. Liege will go down, but still a pretty precarious position here for the last 2 players of CLG.
Yeah, although Cutler and Subrosa are at least making something of it here. It's a 2 versus 3. It's still difficult for these CLG players, but it's definitely doable. The rotate's already come across from Liquid, so they are going to have to deal with these 3 players. They have to jump out there and get the bomb, which is unfortunately dropped in a pretty dangerous position. And Pimp, that's a good Molotov, forces Cutler out, and he's able to pick up the kill. Hiko grabs the other one. So in the end, another good round there for Liquid. They take 3 guns through to this round, although they didn't secure the double AWP. So we'll see whether or not JDM decides to buy another one into it. Looks like he will, otherwise you would have probably expected Pimp would have dropped it over already. And there you go. So double AWP coming out once again.
Yeah. I don't know, just to continue that train of thought, it just feels like Team Liquid are trying to perhaps secure a couple of extra rounds on the board right now where they think they can get them, as opposed to waiting it out. But I don't know. If CLG could come back and win 1 round and then you can go double AWP and just reset their economy, that's not too bad either, to be perfectly honest. But we can see here, winning last round had pretty much the same result. CLG will be on a 5-round losing bonus though. And Cutler going to go down straight up there to JDM.
So CLG's buy next round is going to be pretty good, regardless of whether they win or lose. Just getting those pistols and armor on Ethan and Subrosa to try and find something in this round, but of course the AWPs at the moment not allowing them to do that. A kill for JDM and a kill for Pimp already for Team Liquid. And yeah, again, a little surprised to see the second AWP coming out in this round. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to see something like an SMG, considering Liquid probably would have known that CLG would be going for an eco here, or at least a half buy, something like that.
They had like 5,000 each or something. They had a bit to work with. They could have definitely forced through, but I suspect they just didn't have precisely what they wanted. And if they brought through 1 or 2 players, I suspect they probably would have bought behind it. But that wasn't to be the case, as they all got absolutely wrecked.
Oh well, it is not working out as well, regardless of the situation here for CLG. Kusta now finding himself alone, and Pimp is holding a very close angle with the USP, gets the headshot in the end and acquires himself a deagle. CLG, as expected, should be buying into this one. They're going to get the AWP onto Cutler for what is, I think, the first time throughout this entire series. They did pick it up a couple of times in the middle of a round, but I think this is the first time he's actually been able to buy it.
Yeah, I think potentially part of the reason they waited the last round was purely to be able to get Cutler that AWP and some armor to work with it. He would have, I think, just been able to buy it by itself and maybe a smoke grenade or something like that. So this round is a real full buy here for CLG, and they really need to find a win right now to get themselves back to
JDM's
a
in a good
decent
spot there,
scoreline.
though. Holding an aggressive line up on top of drop. As of yet, hasn't been spotted out, and no one's spotted him, although Ethan is going to be able to pick him up. So for some reason, Ethan's spider sense is tingling there, and he's aware that JDM is in the drop room. So now an advantage for CLG for the first time in a few rounds, although immediately pulled back there by Pimp with the Desert Eagle. And to be honest, it seems like Pimp's using his pistols more than the AWP at the moment, but it's working out for him. So
just showing off his skills. But Pimp was all the way down there on long A, right up where we can see Cutler is now, and he managed to drop all the way back to mid and pick up a frag with the Deagle as well. So he's managing his life pretty well. He didn't just sit there, you know, and hope for the best, maybe get a spray down. Instead, falls back and works with his teammates, which is exactly what he needs to be doing. And you can see him here with the AWP holding back as well, ready to go. 35 on the clock here, Elfish Guy. Look at that, he picks up Kuster as well. We see CLG continuing to weight down this clock. I don't know if it's working for them.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy here for CLG. 25 seconds left here for them now, and trying to get into that bomb site with a player disadvantage is always going to be difficult, though Ethan gets a nice entry, and Subrosa trades him out. This is not so bad, 2 versus 2, although in saying that, we see another trade come out, still favoring Liquid, 2 versus 1, and Cutler is going to go down to Hiko there as well. Liquid find their 7th round, and now CLG really starting to struggle. They should be able to buy into this one, but they're not going to be able to afford an AWP unless it's a glass cannon. They're not going to go for that, so Cutler just with the Tech 9 and armor here. It's not a great buy for CLG again. It's serviceable, but you know, without that AWP and with just the Tech 9 in Cutler's hands, you have to question what they're going to be able to do here. And I think, unfortunate as it is, you have to say, what is Hayes doing at the moment? He hasn't even picked up a single kill in 10 rounds.
Certainly a less than ideal start for him. I think most people would agree. The double ops coming out once again here for Team Liquid. They've had a pretty good start. 7 rounds in a row after losing that pistol round, saving for 2 rounds. You really can't ask more than that, right? Pistol round potentially.
Well, you could ask to force into the second round, I guess, and win that.
But you can see here that clearly a 7-3 is the correct decision, right? If they know that once they get, or they feel that once they get onto these gun rounds, they have the advantage, and they've shown us that for 7 straight, that's exactly where they're at.
Yep.
So
they've definitely been making life difficult here for CLG, and kind of expected, considering Cole is one of their better maps, and CLG don't play it all that much. It is, of course, Liquid's pick, so you know that does come with some assumptions that you should be doing a little better. And of course, they are doing quite well.
They are doing quite well, yeah. Short of winning the pistol round, there's not much else you could, I suspect, ask from them. JDM, he's in the right spot, finds a frag, and now all of a sudden, CLG are down to 3 players. As you said, they didn't have the best of buys coming to this round. No AWP for them. But the rest of the team had 4 AKs. And look at this. Subrosa and Kuster both finding frags here. Ethan needs to pick this one up. He won't be able to. Alish takes him out. Kuster goes down to Pimp. And Alish will find the last player of the round. Liquid picks up their 8th in a row here. CLG really struggling. Cutler now. He's got $4,300. What can he spend it on? Pause going to come out. One would assume surely a CLG tactical pause here. They need to make something of this. Everything that they try is failing.
Yeah, I mean, it almost, you know, it is of course time here for a pause for CLG, but like, you know, where do they go from here? Even if they can bring it back to 7, like if they can get it back to 7, that's not a bad first half. I think Liquid's hit their pass score now of 8. Anything more for Liquid here is going to be a bonus, and it definitely seems like in the form that they're in, the way that they're playing at the moment, it's looking like it's going to be going that way. I mean, Pimp, he's been looking fantastic without AWP, and, you know, typically he'd be the secondary AWPer here for Liquid, but he's leading the charge there on 14 kills. Hiko as well has been chiming in with some nice double kills every now and then. That's really been swinging some rounds in the way of Liquid. So across the board, the guys on Liquid are getting frags when they need to, and, well, really for CLG, they're not quite doing that. No,
they're certainly struggling. Hayes, as you said before, still we're at round number 12, about to get into that one, and he's hasn't had a frag on the board yet, so makes it very difficult when you're essentially playing with 4 players in that sort of respect.
Yeah, and CLG, I mean, they're getting into positions where they can win rounds, but they're just not being able to clutch them out, like the 3v3s, those sort of situations. Sort of the mid to late round parts of the fights are not necessarily going their way, although admittedly they've tended to start off in sort of a 5v3 situation, get on that bomb site. Subrosa, generally speaking, has been the one to get a couple of entries, and then he's been traded out, and then everything falls apart from there. So for me, maybe if Subrosa can keep himself alive, maybe into the late round, into sort of a clutch situation, maybe something can come out here for CLG, but certainly across the board, they don't seem to be really challenging Team Liquid all that much.
No, and they're leaving themselves with very little time to work with as well. Even when they're getting onto the sites, it's almost like Liquid's happy for them to get as far as they get, because they know that they have the numbers, that they have the utility to take them down as they push through. So it doesn't matter how close you get. If you don't firstly get a bomb plant down, you don't win the round. You get no points for getting close to the site. You get a little bit of money for getting a bomb plant down, but they're not even achieving that the majority of the time. They're not even getting that far. Yeah,
exactly. And, well, CLG here probably just discussing what exactly they want to do in the next few rounds. This one's probably just going to be a pistol armor buy so that, you know, they can get a good buy into the next round, maybe with an AWP for Cutler. But even then, when we saw the AWP for Cutler, the last time that he was able to pick it up, it wasn't all that impressive.
Well,
so
they need to get a bomb plan as well. They need to move quicker. They need to get onto the site. They need to overrun their opponents before they get an opportunity to do anything. They're not even getting the bomb down. They're not getting that money. So hopefully here with this Tech 9s, a little bit of armor, maybe we'll see them with the ability to rush out. But as I say, that Liquid, they're calling the play, and they've got 4 people over on B site already.
JDM.
And, look at this.
Well, I thought he was going to get a collateral there, but doesn't manage to do that. In the end, just picks up the single frag onto Kusta. He'll fall back a little bit with that AWP as well into the safe arms of his teammates. Nitro can find Ethan there. And, well, 3 versus 5. What can you expect out of this one, really, for CLG?
Yeah, no, not very much. Liquid were right on the money there. They had 4 players ready to go, and they really punished CLG in that situation. Unfortunately, there's only so much you can do. They certainly did try and push out quickly, but the result wasn't what they needed, unfortunately. Hayes will find Pimp, and that does open up this A site to a degree. We can see Nitro just pushing around the back of the van here. He might be able to find these last 2 frags. He gets one, continues the spray, picks him up. So, only Cbble remains, and he's on the other side of the map. He's nowhere near the bomb. And they're happy, I think, just to leave him over there for now and just require him to come across the other side of this map.
At least should be able to cover him off here. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, not a bad round for Liquid there. I thought maybe CLG were going to try, were going to get one more frag into that one, in which case it wouldn't have been an awful round for them. But to be honest, again, just not exactly what CLG needed there. They needed to really put a little bit more economic damage over to Liquid to feel happy about that round. But Liquid, of course, have heaps of money to play into it anyway, so wouldn't have bothered them all that much to lose a couple more players regardless. CLG, as expected, have bought fully into this one with an AWP onto Cutler. And we'll have to see if he can make use of it again this time. He needs to get some sort of pick or entry frag, something like that, with that AWP if CLG, I feel, are going to really get into this.
Look at this, we've got another really forward push coming out from Liquid on long A. See Nitro's all the way down behind the hay bales, ready to go, waiting for someone to push through, and the potential here for Hayes to fall victim to this trap. Smoke's going to come out and cut off that angle, but perhaps they don't realize that there's one more player just around the corner. We'll see whether Hayes does play it, and he's firing, but at the moment nothing's coming of it. And still 2 players for Team Liquid sitting in good positions, and Nitro peeks out, finds 1, finds 2. Finally gets taken down by Kusta.
Like, that cannot happen. You need to get that trade, and luckily CLG are going to respond back with a few there and bring it back to a 2v3, but really Nitro shouldn't have been allowed to get 2 frags there. In the end, though, it's not looking so bad for CLG, although Hiko, he's been performing quite well throughout Cobble here, and let's see what he can do. Making his way out onto that A-bomb site, hasn't managed to hit a frag just yet. Cbroza's going to get one onto JDM, and now it's just Hiko in a 1v2. Luckily, he dropped the bomb carrier, and now CLG are in a difficult position. Hiko, he doesn't know there's someone right behind him. Cbroza should get an easy kill here.
You'd certainly like to think so.
Although Hiko's worked it well.
Yeah, no, we'll get found out.
Yeah.
So, CLG finally pick up a round, their first gun round victory. And it's round 14, however. Liquid already with 9 on the board. They'll be able to buy this round. They'll spend what they've got next round, irrespective of the result. And when you've got players like Hiko who start this round at $10,000,
yeah,
I mean, he can help buy up for the rest of his team.
Well, it won't be an excellent buy next round if they lose this one, unless they can save a couple of guns through it. But here for CLG, they definitely want to be scrounging together as many rounds as they can, and getting to 6 here would be pretty decent if they were able to get there. Would certainly put them in a position that's workable for the second half. Although you got to say, at the moment, 4 is not quite enough.
No, certainly not. It's going to be a struggle come the swapping half here for CLG to stay in this. We've had a 1-for-1 trade so far. The bomb coming towards the A site, which for a change is actually open, Elfish Guy. There's no one sitting up the back of the site. We've only got Nitro there with his M4.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pimp's usually that A player, and he's already gone down. But Liquid just covering off the site now, it seems. And Liquid, obviously, their defense is just a little bit stretched here with only those 4 players. But CLG, as of yet, have yet to really take advantage of that. Making their way over to the B-bomb site. Elige holding on towards Platt is going to be the first one who'll have to take a duel. And Hiko probably coming in as the second man to back him up.
45 seconds remains, and it looks like CLG are going to be trying to make something of this B site, and they're going to have to do it And a 3-on-4. They lose Kusta there over towards A. Ethan goes down, but sorry, Ethan picks up the frag. Cutler goes down. That Molotov holds them back for a second. And that does give time for these Team Liquid players to push across.
It's a good
JDM
line.
finds an easy frag. And that leaves Sub Rosa here by himself.
15 seconds as well. I mean, he's
Yeah.
going to have so much trouble trying to collect this bomb and plant it. He'll have to take down Nitro, but it's not going to happen. Nitro picks that one up, and now CLG really in all sorts of bother. Their economy is going to be a little dodgy coming into this final round, and of course they're going to force into it, but Liquid, this could be 11-4.
Well, to be fair, CLG have been playing the game with an economy like this.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what it's looked like all game. It's just been very, very poor. And Team Liquid in a great position to take this out, 11-4 heading into the second half. I'm sure they'd love to do that. CLG, really? They never found Liquid's number here. They never found the right way to play it. And Pimp straight up finds one, finds two.
I think he might have got that last kill with the final bullet left in his clip, but he'll be happy with that. 2 players left alive here for CLG, as we saw. I think Hiko picking up the other one across the other side of the map. Cutler does manage to take down Elige, but still, it's not enough. I mean, 4 versus 2 is barely a better situation than 5 versus 2.
Yeah. It's a pretty big ask, and looks like CLG for the moment just trying to change things up a little bit, perhaps. Do they want to play up through drop, rotate back through, find some frags from the flank? Wouldn't be a bad idea, and it's potentially one way to pick up this round. We can see Ethan going down to 44 HP. Hiko picks up 1, picks up 2, and Liquid cleans up the first half, 11-4. We're going to go to a very quick break, and we'll be right back with the second half of this map.
This is the galaxy's easiest meal. And this is the galaxy's easiest haircut.
I absolutely love it.
Soylent, the galaxy's easiest meal.
Welcome back, guys and girls. It's our second half here of our first map of the day. Team Liquid up against Counter Logic Gaming. We started off our conversation this morning, Alfish guys, saying that whilst Team Liquid probably had an advantage heading to this one, CLG was definitely in a position to make something of it. But so far, all they've made here is a mess. Yeah, really. It's not enough on that first half there for CLG coming into this one. Liquid will be feeling very confident, and for CLG, the pistol round super important here. They need to pick it up. If Liquid does manage to grab it, it's pretty much all over at the moment here on Cobblestone, and it has looked like Liquid has been the better side across the board, so I'll expect to see, I think, Liquid picking up the remainder of these rounds pretty quickly here on the second half. Yeah, well, let's see what JDM can do. He picks up Hazed and Cutlass straight away. The bomb plant goes down as well. And we've already seen about half as many bomb plants in the second half as we saw in the first half, Elfish guy. Ethan in a precarious position here. He does find one. Will he get a second? He does. That's great work. But still 3 alive here. Make that 2 now for Team Liquid. The bomb is ticking away. Ethan has a kit to work with. Kusta pushes forward. He finds one, but he needs to check stables. He won't. And, well, Elige in a great spot here just to do something. All they had to do was check stables. All they had to do.
Yeah.
That's it. And they would have been fine. They could have traded it out and got the defuse. But in the end, Elige too strong, holds back, and gives Team Liquid the pistol round.
Yeah, and I mean, more importantly, denies it from CLG, I think. So
yeah.
CLG, are they going to force into this one? Probably not. They've got a couple of rounds to play with at least. But they're going to have to eco the next round as well. And so by that stage, we'll be at sort of 14-4. Anyway, see what happens. Whether or not CLG buy into the next one. Unlikely, but Yeah, they are letting Liquid get very close to the magic number 16.
Yeah, I'm loving this buy coming out from Team Liquid. We have SMGs all around, and they should shred CLG here. These unarmored targets. Pimp just needs to check to his right, he does. That leaves Sub Rosa and Ethan as the last two players left alive for the CT side. They're going to try and rotate across, but even at range, JDM on that MAC-10 is very dangerous here. And Pimp finds the last frag. The bomb goes down. Liquid makes it 13-4. And we're getting much, much closer to a map 1 victory here. Liquid having a very good game. We said we didn't want them to be blowouts, and surely they wouldn't be. 13-4 is kind of looking like that.
I mean, I didn't expect him to be blowouts like this. I thought CLG was going to get a little closer. Like I said, 16-10 to 16-12. At the moment, doesn't look like it's going to happen. But for now, CLG going to be on the eco. Liquid should be finding themselves at 14-4 before the first gun round comes to pass. This time, Liquid making their way over to the B-bomb site. Last couple of rounds, they've gone to A. So changing things up. But CLG have a bit of a stack over to this B-bomb site. So maybe at least something to work with for them here. And Sub Rosa will start off quite well there onto JDM. Pimp should trade him out and does manage to do that. Elige find another one as well. But
what,
Pimp.
was that the last round again?
Yep.
I feel like it has to have been. And he finds Cutler in the head. Hazed. Last one left alive for his team and should get finished up there by Nitro. He does these rounds. Mate, they're so quick.
Yeah, well, get them out of the way here, CLG. Now they can buy into it. And this is, well, they have to definitely turn things around now. If not, it's too late.
I think it almost is too late. I'm happy to be wrong, but it's a pretty big ask. Let's see what Team Liquid tries to do with this buy.
Double AWP immediately coming out for CLG, and that for me is a cry of desperation.
It is a desperation move, isn't it? It's all their chips are on the table here, Elfish Guy.
And I mean, essentially they had to be fair, but well, not relying on those 4 AWPs. 4 AWPs. We're not watching SK today.
I was going to say, is this yesterday, mate?
Yeah, no, 4 rifles. I mean, but double AWP here for CLG. Let's see how it works out. Team Liquid making their way quickly into the A-bomb site. They haven't checked down to where Hazed is holding, but he should be traded out there by Hiko, and he does get traded out. Elige making good use of that SMG, quickly moving in towards balcony, picks up a kill, but the bomb's down. 3 versus 3 now, and a difficult time for CLG to retake this site.
Yeah, exactly, and to be fair, those 2 AWPs are far less effective if you just let your opponents rush into the site with SMGs and don't really contest it. And it feels that was exactly what happened. We saw that there was one player sitting down on ramp, but he didn't do anything. So Rosa will find one. Ethan finds one as well, and now they will get this round, Elfish Guy. And that was an okay retake here coming out from CLG. I guess, really, they didn't lose anyone. Liquid got picked up.
Yeah, it
could have been easier, though, to be fair.
Liquid just seemed to not really know where any of those CLG players were on the retake, and obviously no trades came out, so I guess CLG going to be happy with that one, picking up all the kills that they need, but Liquid buying into this one. They have another opportunity to close this one out with a pretty convincing scoreline, but they don't want to let CLG get back too much into this one. They don't want to let, some momentum slip, I guess, into that second map.
Well, it is starting to slide away just a little bit, the balance tipping ever so slightly, but still very heavily favoured towards Team Liquid here. If CLG can use these 2 AWPs again, did they carry 2 through? I know they lost one. I don't know whether they picked it back up, though.
I didn't notice, to be honest. Anyway, regardless of how it came to the fore, they do have 2 AWPs. Booster and Cutler taking them away once again. And it wasn't really the AWPs that played all that much of a part in the last round, I think. So we'll see whether or not that's going to help them out this round. Kusta holding very far back on the B side towards Chicken Coop. Cutler holding on towards the A side at long. He might have a little bit more action coming up for him. It's Pimp and JDM. This should be an okay situation for CLG. A 1-for-1 trade. It could be worse.
Definitely could be. The bomb still sitting out towards the A site for now. 2 players on A, 2 players on B here for Team Liquid. We can see the 4 CTs spread evenly across the bottom side of the map as well, ready to rotate should they need to. Looks like Liquid are just going to group up and try and force this one together, which wouldn't be a bad play, assuming they can get out from here. Kusta, though, he's sitting up the back, ready to go with the AWP. Can they do something about it? Hiko comes through, drop, picks up Ethan straight away. That's going to make life even more difficult here for CLG. Elige fires through up to the back of Coop. He won't pick anyone up yet, but does find Sub Rosa. And JDM tries to find the last player.
Oh, and a better shot from JDM.
There we go. And Cutler now the last one left alive for his team. He's in a 1v3. He's got an AWP. Surely you just hold on to this weapon.
Well, yes.
Surely, in reality, there are no good decisions here, right?
Yeah.
There isn't.
Like, it's hard to say what he should do here, to be honest, but he has decided to go for the save. And, well, taking an AWP through to the next round is better than not taking an AWP through to the next round, I suppose. But also, giving up a round here to Liquid is going to be just painful, I suppose, there for CLG when they know how far down they are. And to win 10 in a row from here on out, I just don't see it happening. And then even to win the overtime, like I just don't think it's going to happen here.
No, I would agree with that in its entirety, Elfish Guy, and Cutler will find one bonus frag there at the end onto Elige. So 15-5 now the score. CLG, can they win 10 in a row to bring this back to overtime? I think most people would suggest that it's highly unlikely.
Indeed.
I think CLG would suggest that might be highly unlikely.
With a forced buy into this one, CLG, at least, they do have some weapons to play with. The AWP that Cutler saved through to the next round here is going to be crucial for them. Have a look and see, he's playing at the moment down on the A-bomb site, looking in towards mid. But really, there's no one from Liquid to actually challenge him and be better off over towards that B-bomb site. For now, though, he's not going to have much of a part to play.
The bomb sitting out towards the B side of the map for now. But 3 players for Team Liquid just lurking over on this A side. Hazed. What can he do, Elfish Guy, with 2 flashbangs, a Molotov, and a 5.7? That's the real question. Well, he finds Pimp. But I don't know if he's going to get an opportunity to pick up the weapon that Pimp was carrying. Elige going to take down Cutler as well. And look at that. Very well played coming out from Elige. He's pushed all the way through and picks up Hayes. So in the end, JDM does not even need to worry about that player. It's a 4-on-3. The A site is the side of choice here for Team Liquid to try and finish off this first map of the day here on Cobblestone. But the stacks coming out for CLG, they are ready to go. Can they hold back the force that is Team Liquid?
Doesn't seem like it. It's down to Ethan here in a 1 versus 3. He's already found one and looks for the second, but it's not going to be enough. In the end, Liquid proving to be too strong there for CLG.
Yeah, they certainly were. I think just overall, they played just much better Counter-Strike.
Yep.
It was, of course, their map of choice. They decided they want to play Cobble. So we'll give them that little bit of bonus heading into it, Elfish Guy. But Mirage, another Team Liquid map.
Yep.
And CLG, I don't know if they've got anything here in the tank to do
And the way the
about
AWPs are looking here for Liquid, Mirage is not going to be a prettier sight than what Cobble was there for CLG.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll have to wait and find out, ladies and gents. We'll take one more quick break, and we will be back with our second map of the day.